So good evening, everybody. Myself, Dr. Sharaj Bhattacharjee, and my partner, Mr. Y. Maiti, assigned as a convener and co-convener for today's webinar, The Voice of East. With this, we welcome you all. Today's topic, X factor, meaning a variable in a given situation that could have the most significant impact on the outcome, in our case, ophthalmology. Two important segments, group practice and NABH, we will be discussing today. Now we'll be sharing our Eizoc video.
মায়ের কুনুকে ডেকে তো
Is it visible?
No, it's not visible. It's not responding. The video is not responding, not coming.
Okay. Let me share.
Webinar, it is coming.
No, it's not coming.
But it's not, we are unable to see that.
No, we can't see.
Can you see now? Yeah, can you see?
No. Now we can see.
Yeah. It started appearing.
Yeah.
It is started.
So this is the beautiful presentation depicting all the states of the East.
Copy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Now I request our Honorable President of Eizoc, Dr. Abhijit Ghosh, sir, to kindly give the welcome address.
Thank you. Thank you. Am I audible? Can you listen? Hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's so great to have see such wonderful faces. I think it's been quite a long time we haven't done this program for certain reasons, but it's wonderful to see you all these positive faces. Now that we are limping back to normal life, I think the faces are also changed with the lots of work and cataracts you are getting now. So the December has been a wonderful. Like I could see a lot of birthdays in December. Swaraj, I think Swaraj's birthday was there. B.N. Gupta and mine also.
Great.
But and we had a wonderful marriage anniversary of Pranav Ranjan
Thank you,
some time
sir.
back.
Thank you, sir.
So it's all a big family what we represent, and I hope this Eizoc creates a big face in Indian ophthalmology. I think we will do it. We have wonderful subjects today and wonderful speakers. Let's not waste time on me. Let's go on going. Thank you very much. Enjoy this evening.
Thank you. Co-convener, sir.
I'm sorry. Now we
Over to secretary.
over to the secretary.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Maiti. Good evening and welcome all. We meet for the 8th time during this COVID crisis in trying to connect each other, keeping ourselves motivated and abreast with the current information and innovations. The X factor is an interesting area where we will deliberate on two important aspects transforming our current practice pattern, group practice and NABH. Both are going to have a significant impact. So let's keep our mind and ear open to all the discussions. And before we move on to the talks, there are a few announcements to make. The much awaited skill transfer course will be launched from next month onwards. That will be an online initially, and later on it will be shifted to the physical form. The first executive meeting of Eizoc will take place on 21st of February. And the next webinar, that will be a scientific webinar, and that will be hosted by West Bengal. So with all this information, let's move ahead with today's program. Wishing all speakers, participants, and audience a great evening. Thank you so much.
I request Honorary Treasurer to give a few words.
Please unmute.
Please unmute.
Good evening, everybody. Let's
Good
not
evening.
waste the time, precious time. And I take this opportunity to appeal to you all for the life membership drive, as we are for the good financial health of the society, because we are not having physical conference, so a good amount of money we are losing in the form of saving of the conference. And also just to make an appeal utilizing this platform. Thanks you all, and let's over to the moderator.
Now it's my turn to transfer the session to the today's moderator, the two young dynamic from two different angles. One, Dr. Sudipta Mitra from West Bengal. She is presently working as a consultant in Amri Hospital, and she is a founder director of Aram Eye Foundation, Chinchura, Hooghly. And another dynamic young surgeon all the way from Arunachal Pradesh is Dr. Lobsang. And the first instance, it is the turn of Dr. Sudipta Mitra, who will be moderating the session on group practice. Over to Dr. Sudipta.
Thank you, sir. and good evening, everyone. It is indeed an honor to moderate such a beautiful session with star speakers. And so, not wasting much time, I would directly go to the first session of the day evening, the session on group practice. In this session, we have, as a speaker, we have Dr. Ajoy Paul, and I'm very sure each one of us knows him thoroughly, but still, I would like to introduce him as one of the directors of BBI Foundation, where he started his group practice in 1993. He has been an prominent ophthalmologist, not only of Eastern region, but nationally also, and with lots of accolades and awards in national and international forums, nurturing, teaching, inspiring young ophthalmologists have been his trait here. And we are here eagerly waiting to hear from him about our group practice. Welcome, Dr. Ajoy Paul, sir. In the panel, we have some very prominent ophthalmologists again. One of them is Dr. B.N. Gupta, sir. Welcome, Dr. B.N. Gupta, sir. He has been practicing in Jharkhand, and not only is he an eminent surgeon, but he has been a leader in both Eastern region as well as in AIOS. We have Dr. R.C. Meher as the other panelist, who is practicing in Rourkela, Orissa, Meher Eye Clinic, and he's also been a leader in the Eastern region. Welcome, Dr. R.C. Meher, sir. We have Dr. Sunil Surana from Howrah, West Bengal. He has his own center, DBI Foundation, and is a high volume cataract surgeon. Welcome, Dr. Sunil Surana, sir, and Dr. Ashok Shikhu, sir. We have two very young ophthalmologists in the discussions. The pros, Dr. Swati Gupta, who is an upcoming ophthalmologist of Kolkata and has her own clinic, Eye Foundation. Welcome, Dr. Swati, and Dr. Nimi Rani, who is from Patna, Drishtikunj, Nitralaya, and she's again a phaco-refractive surgeon. Welcome, Dr. Nimi. In the discussion for the pros of group practice, we have Dr. Satyajit Pal, sir. He is from Tripura. He has his own nursing homes in Dharmanagar and Kalishahar, and he has been a leader also in IMA, both as president and secretary, and has been serving as a district eye surgeon for last 20 years. Welcome, Dr. Satyajit Pal, sir. And we also have Dr. Anshuman Sinha, sir, who is practicing in Ranchi and Dhanbad after. Hello? Okay. There's an echo. I'm sorry for that. Who has been practicing both in Ranchi and Dhanbad after his training in LVPI in vitreoretinal services. Welcome, Dr. Anshuman Sinha, sir. And the final golden words in this session will be coming from none other than Dr. R.C. Paul, sir, who is heading the chain of hospitals Shushrut Eye Foundation. And not only he is a prolific surgeon, he has also been an encouragement and a leader in his own capability of both Eastern India and in the national forums. Welcome, Dr. R.C. Paul, sir. With these few words, I ask Dr. Ajoy Paul, sir, to present his talk of the evening. Dr. Ajoy Paul, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sudipta, for this kind introduction. Let me go directly to sharing my slide. Well, I'll be talking on this contemporary subject. Are my slide visible? Hello?
Yes.
Dr. Sudipta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, very
feasible
much.
and it's
Please go on. Please go on.
audible too. Well,
Yes,
this
sir.
contemporary topic, thanks Eizoc, thanks Dr. Pranav, all the dignitaries of Eizoc, Babulalla, and I mean Dr. Abhijit Ghosh, that's what we call him, and Dr. Debashish, and all the dignitaries. Anyway, so I'll be speaking on group practice. Well, it so happens that I have been in group practice by default, maybe around more than 2 decades. And probably I'll be having some tips, the way I learned it over the years, and some tips for the youngsters. Well, as a resident, this was the dilemma. What do I do? And that's why I started almost 27 years back. So my option was, do I go solo and be jack of all trades? That's what I started. Taking my own appointment, taking my own patients, seeing them and following them up, doing their own refraction. And then I was juggling with time management, going from one clinic to another. And then I realized that there are too many sharks around. You know, the corporates, insurance companies, TPAs, advertising gurus, marketing executives, image makeover, and pharma giants. I did flirt with those voluntary hospitals, charitable hospitals. I did started doing nursing homes as a solo practitioner and was attached to corporate hospital along with the president, I think Dr. Abhijit Ghosh remembers, in Calcutta Hospital. So those are the early years. But then, as I said, the Steve Jobs, as he said, your time is limited. You cannot be spending your time living someone else's dreams, because I was making an extra car or extra house for somebody when I'm working for somebody else. So coming together, is bigger practice better? Consolidation has become a trend in ophthalmology, and should we be riding that trend? Now that's the question. So in this world where there is constant change in regulations, and then increasing complex government regulations are coming in, I think the slide is not moving. Yes, expensive instruments, that's become the standard of care. Giant corporates, entities looking to buy up practices, and patients expecting ease of access and acceptance of their insurance. Is solo practice an endangered species, the way I started it? Well, the biggest reason for consolidation at this time is declining reimbursement, coupled with the increasing cost of practice of medicine. And by saying that declining reimbursement, we have the Ayushman Bharats and Swasthya Sathis going on, CGHS, TPS, and undercutting by corporate shops, offering them free consultation, free glasses, and so on and so forth, and then giving consultation at 99, I think all the hoardings all over the city. So a larger practice allows you to achieve efficiency and then scale. Makes it easier to comply with regulatory burdens and divides up some of the costs. That's what we found. And the reality is a large percentage of the cost involved in medical practices are pre-practice fixed costs and not per doctor costs. So that's what we realized when we grouped up. And then what is a community or group practice? A group practice is when a group of doctors with common interest, with common goals for improvement and common goals of sharing their experience come together. As Henry Ford beautifully phrased, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. And that's how we can make a team. Together, everyone achieves more. So you can have all these subspecialties working together in a group. As I said, the concept of group practice is almost more than a century old. This is 1892 when the Mayo brothers started the group practice. I know this is one of the best known clinic in US, and incidentally in US, 75% of practices are group practices. We have the ophthalmic group practice there, Fine, Hoffman, and Packard, later it became Sims, and the Jules Stein Eye Institute. I incidentally happened to visit them in my early career and spent some time with them. So in 1993, as a solo practitioner, the question was, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond? That's when we grew up under the shadow of a leader and a mentor. It was Dr. Bakshi. And then with the leader and mentor, we formed a group, and that's Dr. Partha. We formed a group, and we had also Dr. Sandeep. And later on, we expanded this group with the Gen Next leaders, Dr. Saurav, Love, and Rupak. They joined us as a practice, and we became a big leader with the mentor in the lead. The group marched ahead, And that's how BBI Foundation has become a catalyst in multiple small, again, groups, Dalo, I Care, Amulya Jyoti, Sunetrams, and recently Netrala, and the same people again forming multiple groups. So we have been a catalyst. And what helped us? It was a stage for individual talent and teamwork. So I could maintain the solo composer. That's what we are doing with the support and cushion of a team. Maintain the individuality with the corporate benefits, high-tech machine use, and affordable cost. I could never imagine getting a catalyst as a solo practitioner, and this interlays and web lights. This is what we could, almost 3 crore, 5 crore. This is what the group gave us, that cushion to get this. So it's not about money or minimal investment that over the years. It's not about work-life balance, as would say. Definitely we had the work-life balance and work less or live more. Well, I've lived all, had good of holidays. Now this could be because of the group that I stayed with, that I've been staying with, but it was more about achieving a broader vision and being able to do better quality work with cutting-edge technology. I have been having a humanitarian work also in the camps, academics, satellite office, and even in next 1 decade, I've even planned my retirement because I'm in the good. Or if had I been a solo, I just had to close that shop. So most important requirement for this group practice was being an honesty. So honesty is the most important thing when you have avoiding one-man upship, and rational and acceptable model of revenue sharing. Now, this is one of the most important aspects, and this is the bone of contention. Most of the groups were broken up or were given up the group. The share capital versus productivity. How do you share it? Now, there are various ways of sharing it. Eat what you kill. That's what we do. Maintaining a solo practice, whatever patients we do, whatever surgeries, that's what we take back home. Versus share and share alike. That's where you can put all your earnings in a skitty and take it. So there are various ways of doing it. So you could customize how you can do it. There could be potential issues. How do I share my patients? How do somebody gets who does more work versus less work? Now that can be worked out together. So this is the 20 tips that I would say as a group practice harmony, what I have gathered over the years and what I could pass on. Many things I did not do when I started a group practice way back 2 decades back when we started. But over the years we have learned. So some of the things I would say for a new beginner: have a written business plan, employ a strong administrator, select the right physician leader, and always have a new physician leader in the wing. You could have for first 3 years somebody is a leader, or next 3 years somebody else is the leader. Pick the right doctor in your practice and remove the wrong doctor quickly. This is very important. And if you need a second specialist, suppose you have a retina specialist, somebody else is joining, protect the first one. Give them assurance that you are there with us. Be clear about providers' expectation. Make the practice profitable as possible and share practice profits fairly. Now, this is again bone of contention, as I said. Work out a rule from the very beginning how you're going to share the profits and how you want to make this practice profitable. Control your practice's access to patients and share them fairly. This is again the bone of contention, who gets what patient, how many patients, that can be spoken over and shared. Let doctors do their own thing to a point. I mean, somebody who wants to do LASIK, wants to also to give an injection, also wants to do some oculoplasty, definitely it should be left open to, unlike the corporate or in the trustee hospitals where you are pointed that you are a retina specialist, you do only retina, not cataract. But group gives you that, easiness that you can do it. Run all practice board meetings, support the board's decision always. This is very important. Oblige every owner to understand the business, that this is a business. Other than being your profession, this is where you have invested, this is the return should be there. So somebody should not be there that I do only 2 cases in a day or see only 10 patients a day. So that should be worked out within yourself. Assure that every owner has a personal finance plan. Hold plentiful group meetings between the management owner, and play together even outside the office. So you should have a cordial relations, even outside your group, even outside your profession, have a monthly, outing or a yearly dinner, etc. So just few points. It is extremely important to remember, perfect equality is a myth. There is no such thing as 50-50 partnership. Just like in a marriage, keep your eyes wide open while in the marriage and hub shut afterwards. With members belonging to different age groups, except for a change of opinion, the senior and the junior comes in, with age, there will be difference of opinion. Be aware of that. And with the change training, a junior colleague might be better equipped or better knowing than you, so to accept it. And the same way the junior also should equally respect the senior. Drawbacks include less individual freedom, limits on the ability of rapidly growth of income, and need for a consensus on business decisions. So it is rewarding to exercise utmost constraint when you are dealing with your colleagues' deal and think that if my practitioner, my fellow practitioner is getting more than this, what would I have earned if I was slow? So see the advantage. There are a lot of challenges and there are a lot of the plus points in it. So I've just pointed out there could be multiple choices. But last not the least, if not, there is absolute nothing wrong in going solo and singing your own tune if you find that things are not going. A group is worthy if it can give you a coordinated jugalbandi rather than an uncoordinated cacophony. So beyond 2021, be a part of this unique group institutional practice movement and make yourself a winner. Thank you. Thank you for your patient hearing.
That was a beautifully delivered speech on group practice. Thank you, Dr. Ajaypal sir. I'm very sure you have given us very important tips and we'll have very good discussions on it. So much time. Let's ask our discussants who are going to talk about the pros of it. Nimirani, are you there? Yeah. Yeah. Can you give us a briefing, yes, of the pros? You have 3 minutes time for it.
Unmute.
Unmute.
Please unmute yourself, Dr. Nimi.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
I must applaud sir for a wonderful presentation, and many of his points have been an absolute eye-opener. And I'll come straight to the point. Whatever I say is actually crux of my own experience, having tasted both the sides, the bitter and the sweet side of a group practice. So what I have developed out of my own experience, my own perception of a group practice, I would say, merely sharing of premises and equipments, I don't think would be entitled to be called a group practice. In fact, at the best I can call it as a practice of convenience. In fact, equal sharing of responsibilities, risks, losses, and then a rational sharing of turnover is what should be the essence of a group practice. And I must stress upon the fact that this sharing of turnover should not have much of a correlation with the amount of clinical work that one does. Because now we have to have a larger perspective to it. Running a good quality hospital is not only, the clinical work is just a small part of it. So now this becomes the bone of contention in a group practice in majority of the cases, and most of the group practices in healthcare collapse because of the inflated egos that come with the individual patient backup that I have seen over the years. So this is the perception that I have about group practice. So what should we target when we are going to enter in a group practice? The target should be creation of a system wherein the flow of revenue must not stop even when one is not able to work due to unavoidable reasons, which could be personal, professional, or health reasons. The aim of the group practice should be to provide a financial security in the long term and to cover up for each other's absence. Meaning thereby that even if one is absent, the shutter of his shop, there should be somebody to take care of the shop even in somebody's absence. Meaning thereby, in short, that group practice is not for people who believe in long-term, it should believe in long-term investments. It's not for those who are interested in short-term benefits. Another important thing that I would like to stress upon is the relevance of the individual. Even though we are in a group practice, everybody, because after all, we are in a business where we are the products. We are selling ourselves, our surgical skill sets. So everybody, even in a group practice, should be working on their upgradation, on their own, the development of their own skills to maintain their own relevance and hold in the group. This is one thing that is very important. Should be compatible with the group, but should not be soluble in the group.
I think this is very important to maintain a healthy, meaning thereby that there should be a kind of a competition inside the group as well. This should be a healthy competition of the group as a whole. The form of, and as sir has already mentioned, that this form of practice becomes specifically relevant in case of medico-legal issues. In-house expert opinion can be sought, and that too in a very compassionate and a better way. So these group practices can actually be a savior in medico-legal cases and surgical complications. And as sir has already pointed out, in today's world, modern day practice is an extremely complex thing. And there are lots of non-clinical work that has to be handled along with the clinical work that we need to perform. Licenses, compliances, empanelments, and so media management, and so on and so forth. So yes, I agree. The people who are against, who will be opposing the ideology of group practice, they will immediately come up with their idea of employing people to handle all these different departments. But I think all of us here will agree that an employee can never match up to the dedication and the quality of work that a stakeholder will perform and the interest that a stakeholder will take as compared to an employee. And then I would like to conclude.
Dr. Nimi, can you just please sum it up?
We are just the last line. Group practice is the need of the hour. And for that, one thing, a specific mindset is very mandatory. There is no written rule book to run it successfully. And as sir has rightly said, if you believe in marriage as an institution, you have to believe in group practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nimi. That was beautiful. And now over to Dr. Swati Gupta. Dr. Swati, your comments on the pros of group practice, please.
Good evening, everybody. First, I would like to congratulate Eizoc for putting up these two topics, which have a lot of pros and cons running in our mind all the time. And I'm Dr. Swati Agarwal from Kolkata. And I'm here to speak on the pros of group practice. And there was an awesome presentation by Dr. Ajay Paul and also well commented by Dr. Nimi Rani. I would like to highlight 3 points that why we need a group. Why initially there were so many solo practitioners, but now most of the practices are consolidating or shifting to a group. So why do we need a group? So first would be finances. So with the advent of this computer era and with increasing urbanization and digitalization, people have access and want the latest of technologies. They're well aware, and providing those expensive updated technologies is extremely difficult for a solo practitioner. So we need a group because the finances are shared amongst all, right? So the second point, why we need a group is availability. Now, if a solo surgeon is in the OT or on a holiday, a group can take care of a walk-in patient. Patients nowadays wants everything under one roof and they want it available all the time. The patients have become busy. It's not doctor साहब 5 से 7 के बीच में बैठेंगे. They are not going to wait. अभी आँख लाल है मेरे को अभी time. I want to go to the doctor right now. So this is what is happening. And when you go to a solo practitioner, I think a solo practitioner might be a comprehensive ophthalmologist or might be specialized in most of the subjects, but taking care of all the subspecialties of ophthalmology might not be possible for him. So you need a group to take care of all the subspecialties under one roof, which a patient wants. So, and the third thing,
Dr. Swati, I think she's logged off. Uh-oh. Okay. So unfortunately, we lost her. I think she got logged off. So we'll go to the, she was discussing very good points, but I think we'll go to the pros of group practice. And for that, we have Dr. Satyajit Pal, sir. Sir, are you there? Are you ready to speak, sir? Dr. Pal?
The cons. Pros we have already discussed.
Satyajit is there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got the concept. Oh, okay. Oh, Dr. Swati is back. Okay.
Yes.
Swati, you would like to continue?
Yes, Dr. Sudipta. So the
Yes,
third
please
point
go
is
on. Please go on.
competition.
Yeah.
To take care of the competition, actually, there's so many other consolidated centers and big groups are opening up all around you. So it's very difficult for a solo practitioner to compete with a group or a corporate. So to compete with all those and to sustain your practice, you need to form a group yourself. So those are the 3 points: availability, finances, and competition, which I feel is why you need to shift into a group or consolidate yourself into a group. Thank you.
Very crisply described points, Dr. Swati. Thank you. And now for the cons of group practice, Dr. Satyajit Pal, sir.
I told
Dr.
you
Satyajit?
only Satyajit is here. Pal is not here.
No, he's there, but he's.
He's there, sir. I can see him. He's there. He's there.
I think he's there. He is there.
Pal is also there, yes.
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
There are 2 Pals, by the way.
There are 3 Pals.
Satyajit Pal is not there, so it's fine.
Yeah, yes, sir. Dr. Satyajit Pal, sir.
Yes, he is.
Yes, yes, sir.
Can you
Please go
see?
on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I can. Your video is on, and we can hear you very nicely. Please go on.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. So Dr. Satya Agarwal lost and also regained. No.
Yes.
Where did she go? And again she has come. So Dr. Ajoy said everything about group practice, and I think the group practice is better than anything. But there's maybe Rani told that there may be some egos. Yes, ego may be there. We know ego equal to 1 by knowledge.
Satyajit, remove your hand from the
Oh, yes.
camera.
So group practice is always better, but for last 25 years I am doing solo practice. किसी को नहीं मिलता है, तो I think जिसका कोई नहीं है इसके खुदा है यारो. I am doing solo practice for last 25 years, and I am continuing as cornea, anterior chamber, glaucoma, everything I am doing. But there should be group practice. Ojapal told everything nicely. Mimi Rani told nicely everything, and Satya Agarwal. So solo practice is never a good one. No support, no courage, but we should run if nobody is available. I told Dr. Rotishpal many times, please help me to make a group practice, but he is not agree with me.
He didn't do it.
Dr. Arsipal is laughing with
You
me.
seem to be speaking in favor of.
He is speaking in favor of.
No, I'm saying solo is the king. Solo is the king. There is no doubt about it. But
Definitely.
Okay.
So, nothing to tell more. Group practice is better, but solo practice. So thank you very much. I have nothing to tell more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Satyajit Pal, sir. And I do not see Dr. Anshuman Sinha. Is he there? Dr. Anshuman Sinha, are you there? I do not see you.
Swati would like to speak for now for solo practice.
Shuman is
yeah.
Can I have a
Anshuman is not there.
We'd like to speak in favor. Before that, we'd like some comments from the panel as well. Dr. B.N. Gupta,
Yeah,
sir,
sure.
would you like to comment something?
Yeah, Sudipta. It was a
Yes,
wonderful presentation by Dr. Ajay Paul and reinforced by Dr. Nimi and Dr. Swati. I myself have been in solo practice for last almost 39-40 years. I started in 82 after my post-graduation. But definitely seeing the present scenario, I feel that group practice is definitely better. If you get a persons of same temperament, but there are some certain prerequisites like honest dealing, sincerity and dedication. There should not be ego clash. We must respect our colleagues, and we must give space to the youngster. So these are certain points which will definitely which is required for group practice. And by group practice, we can share experience and skill. There is a risk cover in medico-legal circumstances. Definitely, we have a lot of support from our colleagues. You can immediately have second opinion also, and we can enjoy social and academic environment. So definitely group practice is better, but in small places it's very difficult to get your the group practice, because you don't get colleagues also, and there are so many local problems. So in a big places, of course, it is possible, but in small places, it's very difficult. But of course, I will vote for group practice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was very nice of you. I do not see the other panelists here except Dr. Sunil Surana. Dr. Surana, would you like to talk about any of the cons of group practice? Since you are a solo practitioner as such, although you allow some other doctors to come over in DBI Foundation, as much as I know. So would you like to talk about some of the cons of group practice?
No, I will give a account on both positive and on success of group practice. The strength is number is the most positive aspect of a group practice, and the economies of
remove your finger from there, Dr.
Yes. It's all right, Sunil.
The strength
well
in number
seen,
is the
Sunil.
most.
Go on.
Strength in number is the most positive aspect of a group practice. The economies of a viable scale, enhance negotiating position, greater market access, pooled capital for technological updates, risk sharing, and one-stop healthcare facility, and decrease administrative overload on each members, and that all leads to decreased practice cost. But the success of group practice depends on transparency, dedication, sincerity, honesty, commitment, and the rest of fellow members. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well summed up, Sunil. Good points. I understand Dr. Swati has some points about the cons or pros. You would like to speak again on the pros, or you want to share something about the cons of a group practice?
No, I think the group practice and solo practice both have their pros and cons. So I've already spoken on the pros of a group practice, but I feel that a solo practice also has its pros. We should not look down upon solo practice so hardly in this discussion. So for the solo practice, I feel you can, you can touch the patient, you can feel, and you can spend as much time with the patient. You are not dictated by terms. I mean, that can happen even in a group practice, but that heart-to-heart communication, which the healing hand which you give in a solo practice, and the ease with which the patient can communicate with you or reach out to you is much better in a solo practice. And that is not possible in any other practices. That is why we still have solo practitioners all around us. And definitely find you can open a group practice only if you have a good partner. So I think finding a good partner is as good for a group practice is as good as finding a good partner for your marriage. So I think that sums it up. Thank you, Dr. Sudipta.
Very nicely said, Dr. Swati. I understand your attitude of empathy towards patient is more appreciated in solo practice rather than in group practice. I also understand, but as Dr. Ajaypal very well said, that open your eyes wide when you marry and then keep it half closed. So Dr. Ajaypal, I think again has to add something before we go for the golden comments from Dr. R.C.
Yeah, before
yes, Dr. R.C. Pal.
Before Pal speaks, basically it is what I feel is what material are you made? Are you a team player or are you a single? In your school days, did you play only single tennis, or you must have seen there are some tennis player or badminton, they're specialized in doubles and they're specialized in singles. Are you a team player, a footballer, or a lonely athlete? So this is something. This is what you can their mindset. If you are ready to sacrifice, gel in a group, leave alone your ego, group practices for you. Or else, just forget it. Be a solo and be the king. That's what my.
May I ask a question to the panelist?
May I speak a few words? Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Kashyap, can you just in a small way, can you just brief up what you want to say? That's very nice. Yeah, exactly. But I think with
आप बताओ कि भाई भाई में नहीं पड़ता है, बीबी हस्बैंड में पड़ता है, ये कहाँ दो जगह का पड़ेगा, सवाल नहीं है. In a survey in 1993, मैंने देखा कि there were 91 people, they were making groups. Only 3 groups succeeded. So you are lucky. Those people who are in group, they are lucky. Dr. Asipal, he made the hospital and then he made the group. Dr. Debashish, he made the hospital, he did everything and he made the group. So you are, even then you are lucky. लेकिन basically काम तो आपने किया sir.
That's what I was telling. It's very difficult to get the group, the people with same temperament.
May I ask a question to the panelist? Please allow me.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, actually,
yes, Dr. Nagendra, yes.
My question is, so far as patient care is concerned, we are talking about almost making a group and solo, and in which practice type the patients are better cared for. So just because in a group you have multiple facilities available in a single boundary, single roof. So in terms of patient's care, which one is good, solo practice or the group practice? Just I want to hear from the panelists and the other expert from the this meeting.
Sudipta, I think let Roti speak, then you carry on the discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think, yes, because this is a very nice question, but I think we've already been answered partly. We've already been answered partly by both our speaker and some of our discussants, I mean the panelists as well. So let Dr. Paul sum it up and have his golden words. And I'm very sure we'll be enlightened again because he's been a
and then
team
we'll
leader.
Have some,
and then
we'll have some super golden words from us.
Okay. Good evening, Namaskar from Kolkata.
Good evening.
So first let me tell my feelings. I am really grateful to you guys because really you have taken Eizoc to the next height and definitely giving me the opportunity tonight evening to share with you. So first word, maybe let us start something like this. Babulalda, I remember in so many occasions when he shows me that I am running with an umbrella. You remember that slide? and the people follows. So probably those who have seen is not required explanation. Those who have not seen, I'm just telling him that what is good, what is bad, and that things will go on. One important quote is, Nodir epar kohe chhadiya nishas, opare buji sarboshok amar bishas. Those who doesn't understand Bengali, the inner meaning of it, probably those who are in the solo practice, they think the best is the group practice. Those who are in the group practice or the larger practice like institutional practice, we thought probably all happiness is in the other part, is in the solo practice. So question is probably not here. Question is where you are happy, this is good. For our benefit, for our ego satisfaction, for our satisfaction, we can say this is better. Like Dr. Nagendra has asked the question, a very beautiful question, which has touched me. I understand into any kind of business, be it family, be it society, be it eye care practice, be it general hospital, that who are the stakeholders and what are the point of win-win of keeping all these things. This is number one policy. Definitely, yes, Nagendra, this is endless. Now, supposing an hospital like forget about eye care, the best organized hospital, maybe say CFS. Now, can CFS give all the support to say cancer patient end stage? Can CFS give to end point of rehabilitation? So there is no end of it. There is no end of it. That yes, everything under one roof, that is not possible. Yes, possible. If we incorporate, suppose in 2030, when the artificial intelligence will be in full proof, and everything is in my cell phone, it is also possible to give the best service. The first important aspect of doing solo practice or group practice is, first important part is the patient who is getting the service. This is number one. Number two, see, everything is in group. I can give you an example, please don't take it otherwise. Maybe somebody's wife is practicing together, somebody's son is practicing together, son-in-law is practicing together, but we never fight. But when we fight, rightly Sudipta and Shati has said, and Ajoy, my close friend, has said, it is like in marriage. How many marriage breaks? Rarely. But in group practice, we see so many marriages are being broken. B.N. Gupta sir has said, out of 91, how many broken, I didn't remember, that so many has broken. The reason is probably, as I understand, choosing the right leader and choosing, texting the, fixing up the correct DNA. What I exactly need. Is it I need a corporate? Is I need some money? Is I need some facility? Is I need some scientific participation? Whatever. So forming a group, either within your family, with your son, daughter, etc., with some friends, first of all, you have to fix up what is the correct DNA. The second important point is whether you are going for a solo practice. Even solo practice is not like Satyajit Pal. It's not solo practice. Why I do say, he has so many optometrists, he has his wife, he has his son, he has his daughter-in-law, everything. So this is again a group practice. And when I converge of this solo practice, this is nothing but a group practice. Now question is, this important question comes, some group practice sustains, some group practice grows, some group practice sometimes doesn't work that too much. Maybe work sometimes it collapses. Probably the important is the DNA. Second important is the sacrifice. Now, sacrifice is not in the terms of money only. Sacrifice in so many things. I do divide youngsters. B.N. Gupta has talked to my heart. Why? That I have to keep, places for my youngsters. Where the youngsters will get the patient. I have to see for the older people, like Babulalda, when he's going out of the practice, what will be his future? So, entire group should be coordinated. No, Babulalda, please don't take it personally. Just I am giving an example.
Thank you.
So that exemplifies what is the mood of sacrifice, and each and everyone has to sacrifice, not in terms of finance. So, from my point of view, I understand this is all practices are group practice somehow or other, but the maximum importance has to be given on, forming this group, what is the DNA of that group, what we exactly want. And number two, to sustain this group, you need a correct leader. The leader should not be questioned, and that will never be questioned when you find there is sacrifice. So that's all from my point. Thank you.
Well done.
Excellent.
Very
Nicely summed up.
Very well summed up, Orsipal sir. And if anybody has any other comments to add to this discussion, or we'll go on to our next session.
Well, Sudipta, group practice is like living in a joint family. A joint family sustains because of sacrifice, because of adjustability. It depends, and the senior most person should be the person who does the sacrifice. So it comes down below you. As a leader, you have to be full of sacrifices. You have to feel for others. Nothing goes away in life. If the intention is good, it stays. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abhijit Ghosh, sir.
Thank you, Dr. for nicely moderating the session. And thank you all the.
Yes, sir. And only one thing I would add, that beautifully heard from everybody. I think the dream is very important. The vision is very important. Whoever starts a group practice should have a good vision and a dream to go on. Thank you so much. Thank you for the chance to moderate in this session. And I hand over to Dr. Lobsang for the next session.
For that, just one line. I think thank you so much, Dr. Sudipta, for nicely moderating the session.
Thank you.
Now we'll come to the second part, where our co-convener will request Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sudipta. We had a very interesting session. Now, the next session would be on a very important topic, NABH. And for this, I may request Dr. Lobsang to kindly take over and moderate the session. Dr. Lobsang, please.
Okay. Namaskar. Good evening. Shubh Sandhya. This is Dr. Lobsang from Arunachal Pradesh. And at the very outset, I would like to thank Eizoc for giving me this opportunity to moderate such a wonderful session. I would also like to congratulate Eizoc for coming out with such out-of-the-box ideas and such beautiful presentations. Though it may look a bit out of the way, but these two topics are very, very relevant in day-to-day practice. So once you have decided to go ahead with group practice or solo practice, the next is you are going to establish a hospital. So once you establish your hospital, your main concern would be to standardize the hospital. So there comes in the role of NABH. So I'd like to invite Dr. Birendra Prasad Kashyap, who is a well-known figure in all over India. So he has done his MBBS from AFMC Pune and diploma from an MS from RMCH Ranchi. So he specializes in areas of femtosecond laser, vitreoretinal surgery, glaucoma, neuro, squint, orbit, oculoplasty surgery, etc. And he is the first to establish a NABH accredited eye super specialty hospital in the Eastern India, and is first to qualify for NABH SSR from Bihar and Ranchi. So he would be the apt person to give a deliberation on NABH. And he has many international conferences attended as a guest speaker and as a delegate, and has done numerous live surgeries also, and organized many surgical and academic workshops and conferences in district, state, and zonal levels, and has many accolades and awards to his name, and has held very important positions in the Bihar Ophthalmic Society, and also is the ex-secretary of Ranchi IMA and presently treasurer of IMA State Jharkhand. So I welcome Dr. Kashyap, who is the presenter for today's seminar. So echo is coming. So we have very important eminent ophthalmologists who are in the panelists of this presentation. Dr. P.B. Dakal, Dr. Jennifer from Meghalaya, if she is there, I can't see, and Dr. Tathagata Dey and Dr. Roman Singh from Imphal. And for discussions, we have 3 minutes each for pro and for cons. For pros, we have Dr. Satyajit Sinha, who is an eminent ophthalmologist and academician from Patna, and Dr. Ayan Mahanta, who will also be speaking from for the pro. And also for cons, Dr. Devashish Das is there, who is the scientific committee chairman of Eizoc. And then we have Dr. Saroj Tripathi. And final golden comments would be given by Dr. B.N. Subudhi sir. So I'd like to hand over the proceedings to Dr. P.B. Kashyap, who would be giving his presentation on NABH. Over to Dr. Kashyap.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll be talking about NABH. There are a lot of hassles, and it's a kind of a serious condition. Everybody has to be a little serious about it. And friends, till 2005, there were no quality control. People used to have ISO and this and that. but quality control started by 2006 for the hospitals. And the standard was formulated only by 2009 for the small healthcare organization, also known as SSCO. And by 2016, standards were approved for the eye care organizations. When we thought to go for a quality control, so we were the 7th in India to apply and 2nd in SSCO, and we were 21st to get NABH. And since 2009, we are continuously accredited. Now, what is NABH? NABH has certain chapters, certain standards and objective elements. The chapters are like, the patient-centered standards, like patient should be taken care of this. The patient, if something goes wrong, we do this. And organization-centered standards means, the hospital does what for the patients, the facilities, etc. I'll be in very, very short because the time is less. So these are the patient-centered standards, that is assessment, assess continuity of care, care of patient, management of medication, and so on. And these are the organization-centered one. There is continuous quality improvement, responsibility of management, facility management of the safety, etc. Now, quality helps whom? It helps to the provider of the healthcare services. It helps you. It helps the hospital. It also helps the recipient of the healthcare services, that is patients. And it also helps the organizers of the healthcare services like third-party agents, insurance companies. It helps for the good environment because it checks the water, it checks the air or noise, and it's good for the staff. Believe me, it's true. And also for, if you're aiming for CGS such as an ECHS, etc. There are ISO, still people are going for that, but ISO is documentation. But NABH, that is National Accreditation Board for Hospitals, Healthcare Providers, is documentation and implementation. So there are certain important aspects I'll go through. That is, I have, through the guidelines I have made about the staff, all the staff should know about a lot of things. I have made 42 points. I cannot go to each and every point. Like, if everybody should know that in case of non-availability of the beds, what do you do? What happens? Like, does the patient has a right to refuse for the treatment? Like, how to obtain the medicines when the pharmacy is closed? Like, how to use gowns, masks, etc. while dropping the biomedical waste? And what are the sentinel events? What is code blue, code brown, and code bravo? Every staff should know about it. In case of breakdown of anything, like the computer is not working or instrument is not working, where to report? Every staff should know. So those were the 42 points I have made. Is very, very important. Now, there are approximately little more than 67 licenses that one has to see to it. And again, I'll not go into the detail, but mota-moti taur par, what I can say is you have to have a building completion certificate, occupancy certificate, no objection certificate from the chief fire officers, etc. Then you have a retail and bulk drug licenses, Arms Act, electricity rules, etc., custom acts and Indian Lunacy Acts and Indian Trade Union Acts, etc., etc. There are so many rules and regulations and licenses that any profession has to follow all this. We are burdened. Apart from this, they need the list of notifiable diseases. Now, how do you apply for the NABH? You fill up the downloaded form and submit it along with the desired fees. Hospitals should also submit a signed documents, that is terms and conditions that you will maintain the NABH accreditations. NABH accreditation is not a one-time phenomenon. It is, of course, valid for 3 years, but there is always surveillance after 1.5 years, that is 18 months. Till to date, that is, I have gone through all the searches, till to date, the accredited hospitals clinics are 32. Please excuse me, a little, overshoot my time. Clinics are only 32. Out of 70,000 hospitals, 729 hospitals are accredited. A small healthcare organization, only 342. Eye care organizations are 147. And hospitals and SSCO, they also have eye hospitals. So out of 70,000 people, only these many are accredited. It means it is tough. So what is the procedure? What is the process of accreditation? You apply, you download it, you fill up the form fully, it goes to NABH, they scrutinize it. If there is anything wrong, they tell you that fill the form like this, or if there is any less fees, they tell you. And then you again do it, they see it, scrutinize it. If they find it fine, they come for a pre-assessment. After pre-assessment, they check the NAs, that is non-compliances, NCs. So if they find that there are NCs, they tell you that these are the NCs, you complete it, you do it all right. Then again, they come for a final assessment. Again, they give you some NCs. Again, you do the improvement, and then they see it. It goes to the secretariat. Then it goes to the approved for accreditation, and then you ultimately get the certification. It's a very, very tough job. Fee structures is like, if you have less than, for eye care only, if you have less than 500 surgery per year, the application fee is 10,000, annual fees is 50,000 plus GST. So most of us in a bigger, not very big, but then moderate hospitals, it is application fees is 25,000 rupees with annual fees of 1.4 lakhs plus 18% GST per year. So if it is approved for 3 years, you have to pay annual fees twice of this. Now there is a pre-accreditation entry level also, because the NABH had been so tough that people thought it is very, very difficult. So to encourage them, this thing has started, and this entry level has almost 1/4 of the standard, so that they can go for it and they can further improve it, and they are given 1.5 years time to go for a progressive level or the full accreditation level. Now, whenever you go for accreditation, they give you marks. So every chapter and standard and objective elements, if it is non-compliance, you get 0. If you get a partial non-compliance, there is no 1, 2, 3, or 4. There is always 5. And full compliance is 10. And they calculate, and this is the way of calculation, and they calculate and give you the marks. One thing I like to share with you is every organization must have an organogram. Who is the chief? Who is the next person? Like in our case, let's see, a driver. Driver comes under whom? The driver comes, if you just follow it, a driver comes under the HR. So everybody, it talks about the organogram. It's very, very important. There are certain documents which is reviewed every time, even by the NABH people when they come for inspection, like quality manual, various policies and procedure, medical records, hospital-acquired infections, action taken reports, etc., etc. It should be done by you. It is very important for the hospital. And every time they come, they check all these things. And they observe the facility of the hospital and the BMW management, etc. Fire safety. Fire safety, fire people will come and do the checkup. NABH will come and they'll do the checkup again. There are a lot of committees to be formed, like this core committee in every hospital. I was an assessor in NABH. I went to many hospitals and found out that all hospitals have certain core people. So every hospital had 2 or 3 or 4 people. They knew everything. He may not be a doctor. He might be a housekeeping person or electrician person or something, but they are the core people. So they know everything about the hospital, which doctors may not be knowing. So core committee will be there, safety committee, CRP committee, OT and surgical committee, and medical records committee, and medical audit committee. Medical audit and clinical audit are 2 things. Medical audit means auditing the medical records, medical files. And clinical audit is whatever you're treating, you see the result, etc. There's a lot of confusion between, so I just cleared it. Other committees that you must have is ethics committee, grievance committee, and sexual harassment committee. So the moment the patient comes to your hospital at the entrance, it should, by these signages, etc., the patient need not ask you which hospital is this, whether the eye emergency is available or not. It should be clear. And there's a floor plan. If you go to first floor, you'll find all this. Second floor, you'll find all this. Third floor, you'll find all this. So patient, you don't ask anybody. He can go straight. In the reception, all the information should be there. And this is the patient's charter. The patient can read that these are their rights and their responsibilities. If they talk about rights, they talk about their responsibilities as well. And these are the facilities available. It should be displayed in the reception area bilingually. In Hindi, in our places, Hindi and English. Probably in Bengal, it will be Hindi and English and Bengali. And that these are doctor fees is available. The packages of different hospitals should be made available, and it should be very, very transparent. And the reception should also say with the visiting doctors, when the panel of doctors and the emergency numbers are there. It's all displayed in case of any problem. For police, we talk 100, 101 or 5 brigade, but the actual numbers also should be written for any emergency. Fire will occur once, but that will destroy your life forever. So every floor should have a display of floor-wise department, like first floor, second floor, third floor, what first floor has. So if somebody goes there, he not ask, and you very frankly write that, okay, if you're coming here, if you want to get yourself consulted and then investigated and you want to go for operation tomorrow, it might take 3 to 4 hours. And there also should be a complaint and suggestion form, and please do it yourself so that you know what are the problems or where you can improve. And every floor has got a fire exit. So in case of fire, there should not be any problem. And then the no smoking zone should be clearly mentioned. And you cannot keep the camera just like that. You have to mention that you are under the CCTV surveillance. And which many people do not follow is registration of the patient should have patient's consent for the examination by the optometrist. They'll be examined first by the optometrist. That's the primary assessment. It will be done by them. So they have to sign there. This is very, very important. Now, near the entrance, we have a metal detector, and then the help desk. Suppose if the patient is illiterate, the patient can go there and ask about whereabouts. And the prescription should be good when the name of the patient should be there, unique number should be there, ID number, date, time, and the patient's without the patient's complaint, vision, and tension, the prescription is not complete. And when you prescribe the medicine, when the patient goes to the pharmacy, he signs there, meaning thereby he has received the medicines. Otherwise, he'll take some sedation every 10 tablets, and he'll keep on having it. So for many or other reasons also, the patient has to sign that he has understood the things and taken the medicines. And there are a lot of consent form for VR surgery, for squint, etc., etc. A lot of consent forms, even for the blood infusion. All the machines should have.
Kashyap, can you just speed up
your
presentation?
I'll speed up. So all the machines should be calibrated. Fire extinguishers are very important, and every should be trained within every 6 months. There should be fire alarm, should know where the fire is. High pressure hydrant for the fires. Mockly we do it with the fire departments, and whatever new things come in the government, it has to be followed, like water harvesting system and inspection and crash cart with the charging of the defibrillators with the emergency medicines and all the floors. CPR training is done every time, twice a year. Training classes for all the people, and then ambulances, first aid, and all the things which should be available in the ambulance with the person who can do the CPR, and which side of the surgery, which eye, we do a sticker and a cotton and a wristband for that. And these are the pre-operative checkup lists so that we do not make any mistake. We do for HIC, we do a swab culture for air and water and table, and we write all the batch numbers of the drop intraocular lenses, intraocular medication that we use. And model OT helps you a lot, saves a lot of time. Of course, the sterilizations are very important, and these are the reports, some of the reports of the year. And the infection control manuals are very important. We have to know what are the high-risk areas. You have to mention what are the high-risk areas, and you have to follow the instructions and policies of the hospital. Biomedical waste should be at the source, not ultimately. The chemical indicators of the sterilizer should be there. IOL register should be there. This is for the betterment of the hospital. What happens to your IOL? How many you have used? What is the next bill for any company? You'll know all these things. Water supply helps the hospital. Danger zone should be specified. Surveillance of the camera. The most important part is camera. I have got 95 cameras in a hospital, and this is the best thing that I've ever done. So I know every time what is happening, and they're being recorded for 2 months. There should be a special toilet for handicapped, wider doors, holding bars, admissible wheelchairs, no door lock, attendant, alarm bell should be there. There should be a ramp or lift or stretchers, and there should be one emergency room for examination near the entrance. We should do all these audits, and audit means to find out faults, analyze it, take corrective action in a time-bound manner, and do the audit again. To say a few words, I'll end. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite questions because it's a very, very vast thing and everybody is interested. So fine. So I invite questions.
Thank you, Dr. Kashyap, for a very, very elaborate, and I think no better person than you could have managed this presentation so well. I think he has given very, very practical tips of accreditation of eye hospitals. So now we have discussions of 3 minutes each. So we will have for Pro, Dr. Satyajit Sinha, if he is there. So if he can give his comments on NABH, Pro comments. Yeah.
I have just one slide, and Dr. Kashyap has very beautifully explained of how to go about doing it. My just one slide is why should we go for NABH? Speaking for NABH. And I want to say that the whole process sounds so tedious and so difficult, but at the end of the day, it is just that it will help stimulate continuous improvement and enhance efficiency for you, your staff, and all the people working in the hospital. It raises the patient's confidence that services are provided by accredited staff. In a few years, within 1 year or 2 years, all TPAs and CGHS and ECHS will require you to, anyway, ECHS does require you to have NABH, but all TPAs, slowly you will lose all your empanelment if you do not get NABH done in the next 1 or 2 years. It provides a platform for all our staff to compare and benchmark with the very best. For many years, so many things have been happening, but all these assessors who actually come, they give you good points. It's not actually to trouble you, but to make your services better for the patient. And in fact, all this in turn then reduces the complications and increases the cost effectiveness. So what I want to say is that NABH really helps, and it is something which eventually, slowly, we should all go for, who are all quality conscious, and we all are. So it's time to move to NABH, however difficult and however tedious it sounds. So I really congratulate Dr. BP Kashyap for the wonderful presentation, and I would like to hear more views from other panelists and speakers.
Thank you, Dr. Satyajit Sinha, sir. I think he has beautifully summed up the importance of getting NABH for your hospital. So if we have Dr. Ayan Mohanty also, if he is there, he can also join. And Dr. Ayan Mohanty. So if he is not there, then we can go for.
He's there.
If he is there. Okay.
Yeah, he's there.
Thank you. Thanks, Eizoc, for giving me this opportunity.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have much to say because already has been spoken, everything by Dr. Kashyap. So I would just like to highlight few points like what we gain from going through the accreditation process. So as we all know by now that NABH is synonymous with the quality. NABH accreditation means you are at par with the highest hospital standards, and this is a continuous process. So your hospital functioning becomes more organized. We did everything in the yesteryears, but nothing was in an organized manner. Now every person in the hospital has become accountable. If something goes wrong, we can ask that person why this went wrong and do a RCA and kappa. That is root cause analysis and corrective action. When a patient enters, like Dr. Kashyap was harping on the signages, now a patient walking into the hospital now feels that he has entered the right place, where he sees the displays of services that are available, rate charts, availability of doctors, and the mission and vision of a particular hospital. Safety is often a concern. In every hospital, we mainly deal with elderly patients, and because of falls, wet floors, there are a lot of, fractures and all that happen. So after doing NABH, we have come to know that every unsafe place has to be marked, and there should be wheelchair accessibility to every place in the hospital. Surgical safety checklist is another thing which we started, and immensely we have gained from that. And surgical safety checklists should be in place. And many times we have been saved by, at the last moment, people operating on the wrong eye. Endophthalmitis to us is a nightmare, and the whole concept of CSSD has changed, starting with Class B sterilizers, indicators, and process documentation. Regular surveillance of RO water supply, laundry, kitchen started with documentation. Waste segregation has also changed, because previously we used to jumble up and mix up waste and then dispose. But after NABH process, after going through the NABH process, we now came to know how waste is to be segregated at source, like Dr. Kashyap said, and it has been properly streamlined as well. Now we came to know the importance of medical records, because see, for medical legal cases, it has to be preserved for 100 years, or it is disposed at the highest court of law. For pediatric cases, the records have to be kept till the patient is 18 to 21 years old. Training is perhaps the most beneficial area we gain from NABH. The continuous process. Staff training becomes a daily integral affair, and thus indirectly increases the staff bonding with the institution. And after all saying this, there is a legal part place. You are not negligent. It is difficult to frame you in a medical legal case. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mahanta sir, for your valuable inputs. As he has rightly pointed out, accountability is very, very important. And also documentation is one of the very, very important concepts, because that will only save you. And third is patient safety. So these three important points Dr. Mahanta sir has pointed out. So now we go for the cons. We invite our discussant, Dr. Devashish Das, if he is there, so he can give his inputs on why NABH.
Hello. Yeah, good evening, everybody. Basically, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Kashyap for his excellent presentation. I loved it. It's a beautiful presentation. The thing is, we have to give a thought to the alternatives we have for NABH. Whatever Dr. Kashyap spoke throughout his slides, all these can also be done even if we do not go through the NABH accreditation. Everything is implementable in our hospitals, even if we do not have an NABH accreditation. So it is not always that NABH accreditation is a must for these clinical units. The standards, the protocols, the allowances that NABH provides can also had been implemented even when NABH was not there before 2006. And moreover, we should remember, with the NABH, we are blindly following the Western countries. NABH is again basically a copy-paste of the standard Western countries, which is honestly not suitable for our country. Had it been NABH is so good, for the quality control and the simplicity of its implementation, then NABH should be implemented in the government sector first. There cannot exist two healthcare systems in India. The government systems running without any signs of any standardizations at any point of time, and the private sector running with the NABH system in vogue. You should, in this connection, do keep in mind that the whole NABH system is a private sector system which is no way controlled by the government policies or the government of India. It is absolutely a private sector system which does not have any consequences with the government healthcare systems. NABH is basically a severe threat to the affordable health care of the 1.3 million fellow Indians. Not because it is a difficult or tedious, but the entire health system should be under one protocol which is to be followed by everybody, irrespective of the doctor is working in the private sector or a health sector, government sector. So much so that even a movement called Say No to NABH by the medical professionals has been started in Mumbai, and you can visualize their YouTube presentations live. You can go to Google, type Say No to NABH, and you can visualize their videos. It's a movement going on in Mumbai. With this, I forward my presentation to the moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Debashish Das. I think he has given a very nice insight of why we shouldn't be going for NABH. I think definitely
I'm not against NABH, by the way. I'm not
consuming.
against NABH. NABH is a very excellent system, but there should be one system. Okay. We will be paying out of our noses to get the NABH accreditation, and there is another sector who does not have anything regarding NABH. So this cannot be carried on. It has to be a single system, and yet there should be a government policies for it, not a private sector who is ruling the roost. Thank you.
Can I put one information? Can I share, Dr. Lobsang, can I share one particular point?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Didi,
yes, sir.
For the government, they have another, standardizations company. I don't know. I forgot the name of the company.
Absolutely fine. So let us follow that.
So, let me finish. So there is another organization like NABH, which government, follows. So that is there. It is not that they don't have any standardization. They do have any standardization. I forgot the quality control something, which every government hospital is bound to follow. This is number one. Number two is the concern is not it is the westernizations or easternization. Question is this cost effectiveness. My experience, I am going through this process for last 3 years. So my experience, this is really cost effective. What I mean to say, what we spend on recurring expenditure, that minimizes the cost of rendering the service. So it is not increasing. So be it Western, Eastern, I don't mind. And whenever in eye care, we are thankful to, I think, Dr. Kashyap will be the right person to comment on it. The NABH has then two protocol. One protocol for the general hospital, what has said, small healthcare organization or large healthcare organization, and another is the eye care organization. So we are under the process of eye care organization. My experience, this is an honest submission. My cost to the patient really has come down after following this NABH guideline, honestly. And for the government one, yes, you can say for DD, I have argued to them, they have a different system like NABH that may not be that much of, what is called, so tedious job, but the government also has to follow it. This is just an information to share.
I have an experience of more than 9 years,
And I can tell you the cost increases to more than 20% of the hospital.
Right.
Number two, I have got more than 215 files for documentation. If you, when Dr. Subhas Prasad came to my OT and he operated, my sister says, sir, यहाँ sign कर दिए. अब sign करने के बाद बोला ये कि बाप रे बाप, I have to sign so many places. So if a person like Dr. Ritesh, he can operate a cataract surgery in 5 minutes, he'll have to give at least 6 minutes time to fill up all the documents and do this. It's not easy. Number three.
Sir, our experience, sir, I am sorry to interrupt you. Our experience is different.
It means
maybe a number is really high, so that's why our experience is different.
Probably
maybe I don't know. I am not very sure. Maybe the number is very high. That may be one of the reasons.
Probably you are avoiding the pilferages that happens. If you do the audit of your sutures or
maybe just I can give you one example. For last 2 years, we had an running expenditure of, would you believe or not, it was 40% of our revenue. That drastically has reduced to 23%. 23%.
There must be some other factors also, Rotizda. I think
it is national quality assurance standards. National quality assurance standards.
Oh, the government one.
Yeah. For public healthcare facilities.
Public healthcare.
So we have one more discussant who will be speaking for cons of NABH, Dr. Saroj Tripathi, if he is there, so he can join. Dr. Saroj Tripathi.
Yes, I'm there. A very good evening to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Kashyap for his excellent presentation. And as Dr. Das has already discussed everything about the cons, I would only like to say about the cost factor. The cost factor means all stalwart eye specialists are present in today's webinar, but thinking about a young practitioner who will start his practice and planning for a small hospital, going to follow all the guidelines and spending a couple of lakhs will be definitely a burden on the ophthalmologist or the doctor who is following the NABH rules, and ultimately it falls on the patients. It will be a burden for the patient. So in my view, the only point which I am discussing is the cost factor for a young practitioner following all the guidelines of NABH.
Sir, I'll just like to add one thing, sir. I mean, listening to all your expert views and all, what I feel basically, my center being a reasonably old center, almost 30 years now, is not NABH accredited just because the formalities involved and the money involved, I thought was not good enough to be put in. Number one. Number two, I did not go for it just because it was not a government sponsored system. I would like to see someday that either the Medical Council of India, which has now been taken over by Indian Medical Council, what do I do?
NMC.
That take over, NMC, National Medical Commission, that takes over this part and makes it affordable for everybody. This is what I want the future to be of this kind of a system.
NABH is a quasi-governmental organization, meaning thereby the burden has been given to the NABH to take care. So it is quasi-government. It's known as quasi-government. Number one. Number two, have you ever thought that whatever software you are using in the computer has to be licensed? You have to pay a lot of money for that if you're using it for the commercial purposes. Have you ever thought that if you have a PA system, you have to pay for that? Have you ever thought that the TV system that we have in your patient's room, you have to pay for that? You have to have a license. There's so many things for that we have to pay. If you are not bothered about all these things, nobody. If you have to, if somebody is you screw you very tight. He'll screw it tight. He'll look for everything and everything, So I mean, we doctors are in such a way that you have got so many licenses to follow, so many rules and regulations to be followed. That's, oh my God, I don't know.
Sir, I agree to all the good things that the NABH has. The only point is, if it is made affordable, if it is made easy, and if it comes through the government organization, that will be better for everybody. I mean, this is the point. Otherwise, the points taken up by NABH and what it looks for and what it provides is reasonably all right. So it's acceptable.
From IMA, we have tried it, and probably from next years, probably you will hear some IMA. IMA will take over, and they will give you the certification.
Probably that will be a good thing to happen.
So, okay, thank you, all the discussants who have spoken for or and against. I shouldn't say against, but who had mentioned the disadvantages of NABH. Then we have the golden comments from the golden man, Dr. Subudhi sir. So if he can chip in with his golden comments.
Am I visible? I will take only 3 slides only.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, very much.
So thank you, Dr. Kashyap, giving the wide view of this NABH. Whatever you say, whether the pros and cons, NABH will stay. If not today, tomorrow you will be compelled to go for NABH. So why did I go for NABH? For the last 2 years, we are toiling hard to prepare ourselves for the inspection by the NABH authorities. And last week, the authorities have come, one from Bangalore and one from Amritsar. They have assessed our hospital, and we are waiting for the comments. The pre-assessment, as Dr. Kashyap said. As you know, there are 360 points for this accreditation. It's not just for the general hospital, it's the eye hospital. There are different accreditation points, and they've been reduced. So we have, in the last 2 years, we have prepared ourselves. So why should you go for NABH? To improve healthcare quality. Summarizing whatever Dr. Kashyap said, to improve healthcare quality, to improve patient safety, continual quality improvements, for good clinical outcomes, improving patient satisfaction and confidence that you are going to a NABH accredited hospital, for good marketing, advantage in the competitive healthcare, boost medical tourism, people visiting you, for empanelment by the insurance. Tomorrow, all the insurance company will search for you whether your hospital is accredited or not, to fulfill legal and statutory regulatory requirements, for conducting clinical audit to improve patient care, to monitor and control infection rates, for incident analysis, and to prevent medication errors. So many things. These are all advantages. Only one disadvantage, as Dr. Soros Tripathi said, cost effectiveness. No doubt it is costly, but it will give you the outcome in the later years. So how to accredit your hospital for this? You prepare under the NABH guidelines. There are so many points, 360 points you have to go. You must understand well what is NABH, as Dr. Kashyap has already told. And if you're not able to do your hospital, you find out some higher service. There are service providers available in the country who can monitor your progress and prepare your hospital to accredit your hospitals. So these are the few comments I would like to make for all of you. Thank you.
One sentence from me. One sentence.
Yes.
Okay.
My son was very seriously ill in Delhi and had 3-4 hospitals in front of me. One hospital was NABH accredited. I went to that hospital because that was NABH accredited hospital.
Yes.
Right.
Like confidence to aata hai. That it gives a lot of confidence to the patient. That is true about it.
Okay, thank you, Subudhi sir, for your final comments. He has nicely summed up why we should be going ahead with the NABH. Basically, like for patient safety, quality, and also for proper documentation or for our own safety, we should go for NABH accreditation. And the only thing that is of concern is the cost factor and the time that is taken, and also extra additional involvement of HR and infrastructure that is involved with accreditation with NABH. So we would like to invite our panelists who are there, Dr. P.B. Dakalcha, Jennifer Tathakate, or Dr. Roman, if they are there, so they can give their final comments.
I can see Dr. Jennifer was around. Dr. Roman has not joined because he had some personal issues, some personal work.
I don't think anybody is there.
So if we don't have any panelists, then I think we come to a closure of this session. So I would like to thank.
I have point.
Okay, sir.
I want to ask you a question first.
Okay, sir.
Even I would like to ask Dr. Kashyap a question after Satyajit.
People say.
I have a question to you first.
Okay.
My question is, the whole process of getting ready, what Dr. B.N.R. Subudhi was saying, is very tedious, and it's not possible for us to do it ourselves in our day-to-day practice. Now, there are different companies who do this for you, and there's a big discrepancy. I saw that they are charging anywhere from 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs to 5 lakhs rupees to get you ready for this. Is there no standardization? Is there no guideline of how much they should be charging to do this? Does NABH not have any control on this?
NABH does not control it. Dr. Satyajit Sinha fees is 700 rupees. My fees is 1500 rupees. Who can challenge it? So NABH has got nothing to do with it. There's nothing. इसलिए मैं बता रहा हूं कि when you
NABH provide
Dr. Satyajit,
doctors who can go and guide the hospitals.
Dr. Satyajit, can I share you something?
Yes, sir.
We are on the verge of getting the final, NABH in a large setup, right?
Yes, sir.
We didn't appoint a single one, any instructor. So we have so many ophthalmic friends. If you ask Dr. Kashyap, he will guide you free of cost. You don't need to spend any money, believe me.
Yeah, of course.
And if you spend money, you won't get an ABH.
If you hire a service, it's very expensive.
No, you don't need such. Subudhi sir, honestly speaking, we didn't, appointed anyone. We didn't spend a single bike. We did of our own, and we are ready to get it probably by the next month. So we have good friends like Dr. B.P. Kashyap who can guide those who want. Dr. Kashyap, won't you?
Yeah, I have helped so many people. I've helped so many people.
I'll take your help there.
It is very difficult to understand the whole process.
I just want to appreciate
Eizoc help desk for NABH.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Everybody talks about effectiveness, cost effectiveness. Why do you talk about cost effectiveness? आपने अपना फीस क्यों कम रखा है? Why have you kept your fees to 300? Keep it to 1500. Why are you operating for rupees? More than 40,000 rupees.
Nene, Kashyap sir, you don't divert. Kashyap sir, you don't divert. You are one of the ophthalmic assessor of NABH in Eastern India. You are one of our leaders. Are you not ready? Are you not ready to guide our, Eizoc members free of cost? Whenever, like Dr. Satyajit has asked, I'll request even Secretary Pranab Ranjan and President Abhijit Bose to take a note.
I'm requesting both of you, Dr. R.C. Paul, Dr. B.P. Kashyap, and Dr. Subudhi, all three, to guide us.
Agreed on a stamp paper, no problem.
Okay, sir. President, sir, I take this word, sir, and I'll put it in the Eizoc minutes, sir.
Yes,
sure.
You do something
to help all the Eizoc members.
You do something.
In line to ask for help.
You do what I suggest. You do something.
Once there was a problem, people said that when I told him that whenever you sign, you have to put the time and date and you have to put your stamp. But that is a requirement. Whenever you sign, उसके नीचे time होना चाहिए, date होना चाहिए and stamp होना चाहिए.
लेकिन
date लिखा हुआ है. No, let us Pranav, let us go this way.
But
we will have a NABH cell. Chairman Dr. Kashyap, member Dr. R.C. Pal and Dr. B.N.R. Subudhi.
And even Dr. Devashish Das, because his points are very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah, very strong point. I'm really impressed and by his arguments.
So I have one final comment, sir. So
before final comment, can I give an opportunity for 1 minute again?
Sure,
This
sir.
is a diverse subject.
Sure, sir.
Sir, you all are the leaders and luminaries of the Eizoc. You must be very happy. In the meantime, probably all of you know All India Conference is going to happen in June 24th, 25th, 26th and 27th of June. February March is the month of early bird registration. This is LOC of the East. Each on and everybody like the past, you all are LOC members. So we need to register all because we have taken a challenge. This is a physical meeting. In the meantime, probably everybody, all of you have taken the injection. So we have an appeal under the leadership of Dr. Abhijit Ghosh and Subhashish Nag, our organizing secretary.
And Dr.
We need 100% registration of Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Northeast by the month of February 28.
Yes, sir. I got myself registered in the last conference itself, sir.
Sir, Dr. Pranav, it's not about you. All Eizoc members and all the state Eizoc has to take a special recognition, drive as because this is an LOC of the East.
Absolutely,
It's a challenge to us.
Yeah, we'll push this thing, sir.
We'll set an example, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if we are finished, then I think we come to a closure of this session.
Dr. Lobsang, there is a slide from the Entod family.
Okay.
I don't know, Mr. Raman, if you are there and if you want to share that slide, please, before vote of thanks.
Okay, sir.
So
before that, my sincere thanks to Dr. Lobsang for very nicely moderating the session, and our team of speakers and discussants, golden comments and diamond comments also from R.C. Paul and others. Thank you.
Mr. Raman or Mr. Rahul, if you have a slide to share, otherwise we'll move to vote of thanks.
अरे इंटोट को सब जानता है, इनका ड्रॉप लिख देंगे हम लोग सब.
Okay then.
Oh, I think we'll move to vote of thanks. Yeah. They have put in.
Vote of thanks will be given by Dr. Y.C. Mehti.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, it's been a very wonderful discussion from today and out of the box as usual. But as has been seen in the last about few months, it has been a wonderful, eye-opening, relevant topic that we have had, and very mind-opening discussion we have had. So on behalf of the Executive Committee of Eizoc, I wish to first of all thank the speakers, Dr. Ajay Paul and Dr. B.P. Kashyap, for giving us a very detailed detailed outline of the subjects chosen, which were very, very relevant. I also, on behalf of the Executive Committee, would like to thank the moderators of today's sessions, Dr. Sudipta and Dr. Lobsang, for doing a very good job and making the sessions quite interesting. The panelists also deserve to be thanked to the fullest extent, and including the discussions. Also, on behalf of the Executive Committee, we would like to thank commentators, Dr. R.C. Paul and Dr. B.N.R. We would also like to thank all the participants for making this webinar a grand success. Last but not the least, we are very deeply Pharmaceuticals for supporting and function and making this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Mr. Rahul, can you stop sharing the link?
Stop for a minute. Let the horse run.
Oh, that was an interruption. I mean, all of a sudden it dropped up. So please continue with the vote of thanks, please. Mate.
Okay. I thought it was already
All of a sudden it cropped up.
yeah. Should I go again?
Yeah.
I think he has also completed the entire list.
The vote of thanks.
Vote of thanks.
I have actually completed my vote of thanks. I don't know whether it was audible to all the members or not.
It was audible. It was audible.
It was audible with music.
If I have left out anyone, I'm sorry about that. If you'd like, I can go back again.
No. Just one word. Thank you all.
It's understood.
It was a grand evening and a great learning experience for all of us.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Ajay. Thank you, Dr. Niti Gupta. Thank you,
Good night, Pranamji. Good night.
and thank
Good
you,
night.
Abhijit Das, sir. And
Thank you, Pranav.
Thank you,
sir, and Dr.
Abhijit ji. Good night.
Wonderful.
Okay. And thank
Jai
you, Dr.
Jagannath,
Swaraj,
Jai
for
Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai
Get up
Jagannath.
at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Jai Jagannath.
Get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you.